This is the last match of the evening. We're on Overgrowth, spawning to the top right-hand corner in purple, playing Protoss for LDLC in France. It's Miyako. And to the bottom left, in teal, playing Zerk for HTT and Russia, it's Sunokasuri. Two friends playing against each other. One must win. One needs to take down the other. The drama is imminent, everyone. So, Suno already sending out her first Overlord. Miyako, interestingly, not trying to go for wall-off on the high ground. Rather just has her pylon and gateway tucked back neatly against that nexus over here. Going into the first assimilator, checking for proxy hatcheries, because Miyako knows her Suno. So, let's see. Does not really find anything. Suno this time around not going for an aggressive build. Interestingly enough, might have expected her... maybe there's some mind games already going on, where Suno expected Miyako to go for a safe opening anyways, so it wouldn't really work out against her to go for some crazy aggressive build here. Miyako just realizes what's going up by now, seeing that there's a hatchery first build going on. So she just moves around a little bit more, might even check for the gas count here, but doesn't really need to do that. I mean, she sees when the spawning pool was built, so she knows that some sort of early speed build is going on. In the meantime, we have a Zealot being produced as the first countermeasure, and then once the cybernetics core finishes, we will probably see a mothership core pretty soon. So that's it, and there we have the Nexus going down as well. Miyako herself now going for some aggression, it seems. Just wants to move out with the first Zealots and try to deal some counter pressure, or actually some opening pressure to her opponent. But Suna is already producing 8 links in the meantime, while Metabolic Boost is in the research queue. So let's see if she also wants to go for a Baneling Nest and maybe crush through with something. If she wants to go for an Overlord drop maybe, which she did against Koshki quite successfully. So let's see. In the meantime, the first Zealot of Miyako arrives at the natural base. There will be enough links to easily defend this. Soon we're actually even trying to micro back a little bit, not even losing one link in the process, it seems. So quite nicely done by her. In the meantime, Miyako just realizes that those were way more links than there should have actually been. So she just now tries to close off her wall completely. Doesn't actually have anything in place to fill the gap over here. So Suno might actually still get through, it seems. Where's the mothership core? It is in place in the main base. I mean, the gate is open. I don't really know what Miyako was thinking at that point in time, because that was quite interesting. And now the links actually get inside the main base. Big blunder there by Miyako, I feel. I mean, she now neatly lures her opponent into the photon overcharge here. So not really that much damage that Sunokasuri could deal there. She can't really stay close to these pylons anyway. Might actually just only get a few, one more worker out of the sacrifice of all of these Zerglings here. Well, maybe a little bit more scouting information that Miyako might have wanted her to have, but not that much to see anyways. So yeah, okay, actually not really that much damage dealt. Good for Miyako that she never bothered to transfer all of her units, or all of her drones, all of her probes, I'm sorry for that, towards the natural base. So there was actually not much to kill for Sunokasuri, and in a way Miyako held quite nicely there. So, Twilight Council getting thrown down, Robotics Facility getting thrown down as well. Typical standard order of buildings for Protoss here. In the meantime, while pushing, Sunokasuri managed to get a third base out as well as her evolution chambers. So upgrades will be able to build in just a few seconds here. We have 41 workers to 32. So actually everything's looking quite nicely here. Looking quite nice for Sunokasuri. Lair in the making, Miyako just has to wait for her important tech buildings to finish up before she can actually do anything else. Will we see a Warp Prism here for some additional harassment? And what will actually come out of the Twilight Council? Does Miyako actually want to go into an immortal push the way that Koshiki usually wants to do it? Blink this time around, so it seems as if she might want to go into a blink based push play here with the help of a Warp Prism there. I mean, Miyako's micro is very good, so she just has adepts to deal with the initial links here and maybe even banelings. And if her opponent just wants to go into either Mutas or Roaches right behind it, the Blink Stalkers should just help out with the immediate second push. Now just getting her units clumped up in a very nice little choke point here where she can actually just find super cost efficiently against these Lings there. So Lings now dying like crazy here. The Queens just having problems healing each other, but they still take quite some time to kill. Unfortunately, Queens alone won't really suffice to deal with that kind of army here. In the meantime, Miyako has already dealt some damage here, not only direct but also indirect damage, but finally, after realizing that too many Lings are arriving at the third base, she just moves her units more closely to the Mothership Core and transfers out for now. Also pulls the Warp Prism back immediately here, realizes that she won't really be able to deal that much damage with only Warp-ins. Tries to take the third base for now and realizes that she needs some units at home to defend it, so she just keeps everything back at home. One more Lings just arriving at the third base, might even force a cancel now. If she really commits to surround, yeah, Miyako should have to cancel here. Ooh, actually gets all of her Stalkers surrounded. Blink has not finished yet, so she's not even able to transfer out. Now just has to frantically, ooh, wow, that was really close. Fill that gap over here. Mothership Core is there, so with the help of Photon Overcharge, she should hold for now. But of course, losing the third base really problematic for her in that kind of situation. 62 workers for Suno here, and only 43 for Miyako. -1 base, and Suno could actually just easily get a fourth one by now, which I think she should really do after successfully defeating that push and killing off so many army units of Miyako close to her third base. In the meantime, Suno just sends her Lings once more to the third base location. Will probably even check over here. But she barely sees the minerals here. So I think actually if a Nexus was morphing here, she would not be able to see it, but might just move over to this fourth base location once more. Yeah, I think what would really be important would be to just check for hidden ninja bases, because that's what a lot of Protoss players do once they realize they can't just straight up take a third base somewhere close where they can easily defend it once it stands, because the opponent will just move in and kill it before it gets finished. But sometimes you're more lucky with a hidden fourth base, so that's just what you usually want to look for and want to watch out for. So Suno actually has a lot of forces standing on the field. She even has a lot of high DPS units with the Hydralisks here, and mostly Blink Stalkers only for Miyako. I mean, with impeccable Blink Micro and good force field units usage, she might be able to actually take out this army if the splits are good, if the Blink Micro is nice, and if actually this Warp Prism does not get taken down. But it seems as if she might just barely be able to warp the Mothership Core loses its life in the process, so Miyako just retreats for now, might just unfold the Warp Prism close by at the Watchtower, and then just might go for another push. If she doesn't, yeah, maybe she does that. I think that's just the best opportunity. I mean, Miyako is still forced to an all-in the longer this game goes, has not even tried to take a third base once more, so she actually is totally all-in. Either this push does tremendous amounts of damage, actually game-ending damage, or I think a next push will not be in her. I think a next push would just easily be crushed. Even this push should still be very problematic with all of the Hydras and the Lings around. So let's see. I mean, with a good surround, this should be no problem for Sunokasuri. With good force fields and good blink, it might cause a problem. But the DPS of the Hydras is a very big problem for Miyako right now. Still, Sunokasuri does not really feel comfortable fighting against the blink micro of Miyako close towards that ramp, so she retreats for now. But also Miyako retreats for now, needs a few more units in her entire mix. We don't have any upgrades incoming for her. As we can see in the production, she's now even forced to morph in Zealot, to warp in Zealots, because she just doesn't have the gas count anymore. And now the first lurkers are getting morphed, and that should seal the deal eventually, since there's no detection inside Miyako's army. And once she realizes that the lurkers are out and she won't actually be able to immediately deal damage at that point in time, I think she will probably just GG out. Realizing that they're the lurkers, just moving back a little bit, trying to kill off chunks of her army by cutting the rest of the army off with the force fields, and not trying to engage inside the lurkers, will now just wait for the observer to arrive. But like I said before, I mean, she's just losing time, and Miyako knows it. I mean, she knows she's under the gun. She just has to do something. No third whatsoever being taken. In the meantime, we have a nice little harassment with Zealots in the main base, taking out a few workers here, but just mostly getting killed by spine crawlers. Seems as if Sunokasuri was actually expecting something, nicely keeping most of the units out of the base with the help of force fields, but she just can't attack at two positions at once, so she just has to take more care of her main army fighting against this lurker force, which didn't really work out the way she wanted it to work out. Yeah, and I mean, mostly only spine crawlers fell. The War Prism is still out there. Miyako might be able to just deal some more pressure at two different angles, but her force has been slaughtered. She's still on two bases. Her main base is almost dry. Her natural looks pretty dry too. One probe, even being a French probe once more, not working at all. And Suno just has everything right now. She has the gold base. She has 5 bases up. She has lava like crazy. She has a very nice income, doubling the income of Miyako right now. And well, the saving grace, Dark Shrine, I don't really see it happening. Miyako just putting everything on one card here, trying to get the gold nexus up and maybe a third nexus at the same time, just hoping that her opponent may just make a bad engagement over here. Nice little force field usage of Miyako here, separating a lot of Hydras from the main forces, not really letting the lurkers getting up the ramp, but she just won't have force fields forever there. And once the lurkers actually burrow close to the force fields, they also can deal their damage underneath force fields, no problem whatsoever. Yeah, I think that should be it. Sunokasuri now even separating the main army from the natural entrance. The lurkers get in position, and it seems as if, yeah, even the observer got taken out with the help of the overseer. The last remaining units of Miyako die, 198 supply to 57. Finally the DTs arrive, and Sunokasuri once more in her career of StarCraft doesn't have an observer around. Luckily for her, Miyako does not have an observer herself, so she's not able to take out these lurkers yet. One observer is in production, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Suno can just move forwards, take out the remaining bases of her opponent. Well, more DTs coming in, shredding this force like crazy. I mean, this is the same thing that happened to her against Poison 2 times in the FSL, and now finally Miyako has her observer out, takes out all of the important lurkers. Finally, the Overseer arrives, but DTs still deal tremendous amounts of damage, even if they are seen by the units. Yeah, but it still seems to be not enough. There's just not many resources left for Miyako, even if she manages to hold at that point. Or she even transfers her units back to the gold base. And what looked like a decisive victory for Sunokasuri a moment ago, well, it doesn't really matter anymore. Miyako just realizes this game is over anyways, and Suno takes the first map. Habitation Station is our second map of this best of 5, spawning to the top right hand corner. Playing the purple Protoss, it's Miyako. And to the top left, having shed the blood of her friend in the first game, playing Zerk, it's the ruthless Sunokasuri. So Miyako once more, trusting in her possibilities to defend her base, even without a warning. So Suno also not going for a gold-based cheese. Neither does Miyako. No cheese yet. I'm really interested in finding out whether one of those eventually goes for a cheese build in one of these matches. So hatchery being planted down, gas right afterwards, getting a pool in a few seconds. Nothing all too uncommon for both players here. Pylon just behind the mineral line, which is supposed to help the mothership core defend the mineral line if Lings should actually get inside the main base. Won't happen anytime soon, since the spawning pole only got thrown down a few seconds ago, while the Overlords marching, well actually just flying. I don't actually know how they can keep themselves in the air even, flying as slowly as they do. What the hell actually keeps them in the air? That would be really interesting to know. I mean, there's not even some sorts of wings or something. How the hell do Overlords stay in the air? Well, it doesn't really matter. So, Summoner's core being done. We will see the mothership core in just a second. Miyako once more going for the same build as in game 1. Sends the Zealot across the map to apply some pressure and also get a good feeling for what Suno is actually doing. Suno actually saw the Zealot moving out, so she's already preparing for her defense. Actually producing a few more links. Will probably just try to run across the map and maybe apply some pressure herself once the Zealot has been stopped. Zealot checking for the gold base first, sees that nothing is there, and now the mothership core is in place. Miyako actually walking across the map with the mothership core and another stalker here. Seems as if she just wants to apply some more pressure, might just do something else, tries to micro around with the Zealot here, trying to just get one Zergling over here, maybe a second one. Tremendous micro there by Miyako. Might even just actually save the Zealot here with the help of the Stalker and the mothership core. Now finally the Zealot dies, but not without getting one more Zergling. And now Miyako just really ramping up the aggression here. Even maybe sending one more. This time around, this is just to apply a little bit more fake pressure, making Suno think that there might be more units coming across in order to keep her busy, so she just makes way more units here than she actually might have wanted to. In the meantime, Miyako just prepares to seal this area off with the units and buildings while going into a Stargate build, interestingly, right behind it. Let's see if we're going to see oracles right behind it. Probably not a Phoenix player, I think. Very interestingly, she also has a Twilight Council in the making. So I think this might actually go into Void Race, but we'll see in just a few seconds here. So this wall is tight with the Adept right standing inside the gap that leads to the outside of Miyako's base. In the meantime, we have Suno still on 2 bases, interestingly enough. She also just has this time around she goes for the dropper lords. So let's see if she can actually deal a lot of damage inside Miyako's base. I mean, there are a lot of dark corners inside the base that Miyako can't really observe very well. We have Adepts in here, so the Adept Glaives in addition with Oracle. So it seems if Miyako just wants to go for the anti-Ling army here completely. Ooh, and this might surprise her completely as well. 2 Overlords making it into the main base. We also have some Queens in position as well. Finally, 1 Oracle flies across and will now see the Dropper Lords incoming. So let's see how Miyako is actually going to react. 4 Adepts are inside the natural base of Sunokasuri. Suno throws down Spore Crawlers immediately to deal with the Oracle here. At the same time, she unloads her own units inside the main base. The Mothership Core is in position, firing up the Photon Overcharge at the pylon. So it seems as if Miyako might actually be able to deal a little bit more damage than her opponent will be. So let's see what she can do. The Phoenixes and Stalkers now taking down most of the Dropper Lords. We still have some Queens in place. The Queens actually don't really transfuse use the Overlord over here, so they won't be able to fly out anymore, will get sacrificed for actually not really dealing that much damage. At the same time, we have the Adepts running rampant inside Sunokasuri's base, killing more and more workers, 15, 16, 17, and no real damage being dealt by Sunokasuri except for a few queens, maybe taking out a mothership core here. That's only on 100 energy anyways. GG, and Miyako ties the series 1-1. Daybreak is our third map in this thrilling best of 5 series between our Zerg player in teal, Sunokasuri, and fighting on the same field of blood, honor, in the arena that is Daybreak. It's LELC's Miyako playing Protons. So let's see what these two players have in store for each other. It's 1-1. Both players just need to win 2 more games in order to take it home. No cheesing once more! I feel betrayed. I mean, this is Daybreak, for God's sake. We all know that Sunokasuri loves to play proxy hatches against Protoss on Daybreak. But that, of course, might be actually the problem that Miyako might even expect it as well. But thus far, she hasn't sent out a worker here. So maybe Miyako was not even watching the last few matches of Sunokasuri, or just hasn't been thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people just know Sunokasuri for proxy hatching on Daybreak. Okay, there's the scout. We already saw all of the clicks going on here. So I think, yeah, there it is. So Miyako would have scouted it by now. So probably a wise decision by Sunokasuri to not go for some sort of cheese builds. That's of course always the problem when you play a person that knows you quite well, that they just know of all your elegant strategies, and you just know that it might not be worthwhile doing them because your opponent will probably sniff you out. So the only thing you can do is just play straight up and just hope for the best. So Miyako in the meantime checking her opponent's base with the proxy checking probe, and sees that the hatchery is already down. We'll go inside the base, we'll see the spawning pool already wiggling, and we'll now just have all the information. We'll probably just even move towards the third base to just either now or later on check for something. Ooh, interestingly, even a spine crawler going down. Maybe Suno was expecting her opponent to maybe throw down some sort of pylon and maybe going for some sort of mothership core push here, maybe with some close by proxy buildings, but she's not doing anything of that sort. So in the meantime we have a pylon. Yeah, she probably has, no, actually that's Miyako's first adept here, so has this Overlord already checked for the base? Yeah, probably has. So she was probably just a little bit worried because no Nexus had been thrown down by now. So Mothership Core making it across the map. We have the probe still checking for the third base. We have the first adept arriving and the second one as well. Spine Crawler is already ready. Don't really know if I like it that it's so much forwarded here. So I think it would have been better to keep it closer to the hatchery. Make it more difficult for the adepts to actually deal damage. I mean, this way they also can just shade by this spine crawler here without taking any damage, but if you just put this spine crawler closer to the hatchery, it will always be able to protect no matter where they actually shade in. But yeah, for now it seems okay, Miyako just wanted to gather a few more adepts before finally moving in, and 4 adepts are quite a treat for these few Zerglings here. And like I said, now the shade now moving in, of course Miyako has to decide, does she want to commit or not? She commits close towards that hatch here, so with the help of the Mothership Core and the adepts, she will probably be able to take out these Lings quite easily here, no problem whatsoever. Queen's now moving in, the Mothership Core has to move away because otherwise it will probably just get shot down. I mean, adepts take quite some time to get taken down, but so do Queens. More and more Zerglings arrive, and now we will see whether Miyako wants to move out or not, but she loses the Mothership Core and thus the possibility to finally warp out with her units. And now Sunokasuri just has a lot of Lings on the way. Miyako just frantically tries to wall off the buildings over here. Unfortunately, just warped in a few more adepts so that this probe over here could not seal down the entrance. It seems that Miyako has just barely forgotten it, but there the gateway goes down right in time before the links can finally move in. But now it's only adepts defending, and we have a lot of buildings with a lot of surface area that could easily get surrounded. And now we see that these adepts were actually not even standing in the right position. Zerglings getting through. Finally, the mothership core gets out once more, but it only has energy enough for one more photon overcharge. Zerglings now running rampant inside the main base of Miyako, taking out 7 workers already. Finally, the adepts arrive, but they get surrounded immediately. But before Sunokasuri just wants to waste all of her units against these adepts, she rather just wants to try to take more and more workers. Now 9 are already dead, plus the lost mining time. 10, 11 workers killed before Miyako finally manages to get rid of all the pesky links inside her main base. In the meantime, we have Sunokasuri taking a 3rd base right behind it, now up in 1 base, as a Zerg should actually always be, but also 32 workers to 13. Wow, that's like a big advantage. Already transitioning into roaches, which will probably get morphed into ravagers, and then I think it should be quite easy to take out that front, especially with only 1 pylon powering all of these gateways here. So more of a desperation attack, I think, by Miyako here. Miyako realizes, of course, that she has to deal damage right here, right now. Otherwise she will just fall back towards a point where she will never be able to get back into the game. But I don't see this push really dealing enough damage, or dealing the damage she really needs to do here. Running in, seeing already that the army and the roaches, consisting of roaches and lynx, is already ready for her, so she moves towards the natural base entrance, but that's also a bad location for her. Should probably just cancel the... Okay, maybe she shades through because most of the units are being attacked at the main entrance anyways, hoping for some decent damage here, maybe some drone damage, maybe getting rid of most of these links here. Maybe another shade away will just give her the possibility to deal more economic damage before all of these roaches eventually will kill off the adepts. But thus far only 2 drones got killed, and probably all of these adepts are going to die, or even if they don't, they won't really be able to deal that much damage. More adepts being warped in at a proxy warp in location, but they are only slow warping, so it will still take some time, giving Sunokasuri more and more time to get her overlords up, because unfortunately she's supply blocked. But I mean, have a look at these supplies. It's 71 to 39. I mean, Miyako could just maybe go into DTs once more, but she doesn't even have a Twilight Council, so I can't really see the transitioning. At the same time, she's not even producing workers anymore, so seems as if she's almost given up, or she's just too busy, or she just wants to warp in more and more units, going full all in anyways. But the more and more time she lets pass by, the more and more problematic it's going to be for her to eventually deal damage. I mean, yeah, these adepts now can 2-shot a queen here. And Sunokasuri has to be really careful not to lose too many workers here, but like I said before, I mean, the roaches should eventually be able to clear these adepts up. Yeah, more and more damage being dealt. Still, at that point in time, Sunokasuri can easily just exchange whatever damage he's been dealt. So 9 workers killed, 11 workers in the making. 10 workers killed, 11 workers in the making. And like I said, the adepts will eventually get killed. Finally, 2 more probes in the fray. A few workers weren't even working in the process, so a bit sloppy there by Miyako as well. Yeah, and once finally Sunokasuri stabilizes and catches some breath in order to get back to her plan and get her plan back on track, more precisely said, then it should be an easy game for her from there on out. Hydrolith Den is already done. With a few more minerals and gas, Suno will be able to just transform this into a Hydrolith, into a Lurker Den. And from then on out, the game will be done anyways. So 10 more Hydroliths being produced. and once she has a nicely army mix of Roach Hydra, I think this should be easily dealt with. Okay, Roach is now moving into the third base location because Adepts were there. At the same time, we have more Adepts just being annoying inside the main base. So Miyako and her multi-prong harassment still being a problem for Sunu at some point, but like I said, it's merely cosmetic here. I mean, Miyako is buying a lot of time, but the question is for what? Finally she gets a Twilight Council, might even want to transition into DTs right behind it, because it has worked once for her. Well, actually no, it didn't. In the first game, I mean, she managed to crush the push, but eventually she couldn't win the game anyways, so it didn't really matter. And at the same time, more Adepts standing close towards the second edge. 13 more workers got killed, but like I said before, it just doesn't really make any difference. Still 50 workers, 17 workers ahead. So dealing economic damage is nice, but if you're still behind an economy even after a successful harassment, then you just know how far down you are. So, Spine also in the production. I don't really know if Suno actually wants to transition into Mutas. She might actually do that. But maybe she just wants to have it for later on, just in case. Or for some quick tech switches, because she just can. So at the same time, she wants to go for a fourth base, has not realized where the units were actually coming from. Now she knows that there's the proxy pylon, and will probably now take it out after clearing these two Adepts over here once more. And again, Miyako just buys more time, keeps Sunokasuri tucked back with this annoying harassment here, is even still killing workers, but again, like I said, it just doesn't matter, even after these successful harassments. 6, 7, even, no, okay, only 7 workers, but she's still behind by 21, so it doesn't really matter if you kill 7 if you're behind 21 afterwards. No third base whatsoever, and Miyako has never actually even had the chance to get that base. So a little bit oversaturated inside the main base, more gateways going down. No real tech whatsoever now going into Zealot speed, but yeah, actually nice move there by Sunokasuri, who probably kinda anticipated something like that, or actually saw that there were only ground units being produced, so she just decided to go into a Spire build, waited for a few resources to get collected, and now she just mass produces Mutas, and the Mutaflock, once flying above all of these units that actually can't attack air except for these sentries, will probably cause Miyako to GG out immediately. Well, maybe not immediately because she's a fighter. But yeah, there they are. Taking out the sentries right away. GG. And Sunokasuri takes the third game for a 2-1 lead. It's the fourth map of this best of 5. We're on Whirlwind, spawning to the bottom. No, to the top right. Location in purple, playing for LDLC and France. It's Miyako. And to the top left, in teal, playing Zerg for a T team. It's Sunokasuri with a panty icon. It looks like a panty. Come on, I know it's supposed to be some sort of teacup, but it looks like a panty icon. You can't fool me. So, this time around, interestingly, Miyako goes for an early wall-off, especially on Whirlwind of all maps, which is quite interesting. Maybe because there's such a wide open space inside her main base. So, in the meantime, we have Suno already taking her hatch first into gas, and later on into pool. She only needs to win once more in order to seal the deal. Miyako needs to take 2 games off of her opponent, who also happens to be a very close friend of her. How do you want to fight a friend? Even in a competition like this, it must be hard. I can only imagine the feelings that both players must feel right now. The anxiety to step up against a beloved person in such a ruthless fight that is called StarCraft. It's sad. It makes me sad to see 2 friends step up against each other, taking arms, ready to bash each other's faces. To win. But they have to endure with it. They have to do it. One needs to kill the other in this epic struggle. While Miyako's taking second base. No walling off so far, but probably this probe is going to plant down a pylon. And there she goes. So, links are already in production, plus speed, so Miyako needs to hurry up a little bit, or otherwise it might be a bit problematic for her to defend this nexus over here, with the first pylon standing close to the ramp. I mean, once this ramp gets close, this pylon will be pretty important, but if Sunokasuri actually manages to get through and passing by that pylon, getting maybe right to this nexus, there's no nexus overcharge anymore. So, first few links already on the run, while Suno is taking a third base right behind it. Speed will be done in just a few seconds. Suno not really overcommitting with the speed links. So, we have 2 more gateways in the making. Suno can just pass by. We have 1 adept, but the adept alone will not be able to close off completely. But yeah, like we said, there are only 4 links here. Suno just tries to get close to the pylon, taking it down, but sees the mothership core immediately. So runs back, knows what's going on for now. That's of course a good thing for her. Might even actually use these links to just scout around the outskirts of her bases, to just make sure that no proxy shenanigans are going on whatsoever. Nope, just tucks them back towards her natural base, so that she will always be able to move out if necessary. Moves in with an Overlord to see what tech decision Miyako has made. And it's a Stargate once more, so maybe we'll see the same build out of Miyako, which would be unusual, because I think in all of the time I've casted Miyako, she's never done the same build twice in a row. Well, maybe sort of a similar opening, but always changing it up a little bit. So yeah, that would be quite odd for her. Just using the exact same thing once more. That's usually just not what Miyako does. At least not when she's playing on stream. So, probe. Still standing here. My god, these French probes, lazy as fuck. And in the meantime, we have the Twilight Council right behind the wall, also quite interesting. So maybe she eventually just wants to go into Adepts with Glaives and Oracles once more, but no! Oracles this time around. It's going to be Void Rays, what I was expecting earlier on, when she just actually went into Oracles. I think it was on Habitation Station. So, in the meantime, we have Hylos Den up and coming for Sunokasuri. Yeah, we'll actually be well prepared for whatever comes out of the Stargate, and especially for Void Rays. So this just might backfire horribly, but of course the Resonating Glaives are still something that might help Miyako out dealing with Hydras, because Hydras are light units, and Adepts deals additional damage to light units, which are Zerglings and Hydras. So with only Zerglings and Hydras on the ground, and maybe a Mars Adept build with Resonating Glaives and some Void Rays behind, that might hurt quite a bit. But of course Resonating Glaives is a very expensive upgrade, not only cost-wise, but especially time-wise. So it will still take some time to get out the Resonating Glaives. In the meantime, Suno has some time to get up Banelings, to get up more Lings, to get up her Hydras. But yeah, we already see how Miyako starts fighting very cost efficiently against these Lings here. It just takes tremendous amounts of Lings in order to deal with only a small force of Adepts, especially if they manage to get into a good position where you can't really get a good surround. Decent Baneling hits might just get rid of the problem, but you first have to get them. And against a player like Miyako, who also knows to auto micro units very well, since she was a Terran Masters player before she started playing Protoss in the FSL. And she also has had some experiences with Protoss anyways. So yeah, this might turn out quite interestingly here. A lot of Banelings around, so Suno actually has all the means it takes to deal with this push over here. I think the biggest weakness of this push is that Miyako actually doesn't have anything to warp in more units. So now the Void Rays are in front, tearing down that queen over here. No transfuse available. Miyako splits are good, but there are just too many banelings, it seems. Getting a full surround on all of these units. Banelings and Lings finally, eventually taking out the Adepts. And the Void Ray gets taken down by the arriving Hydralisks and the Spore Crawler that unfortunately just finished while Miyako was busy microing her units back here, so she couldn't really take care of those. In the meantime, she was trying to take a third base right behind it, but it's very exposed now. She doesn't have many units out on the field, only 3 Adepts for now and 1 Void Ray. With the Mothership Core and the Pylons up, I think she will be able to save that third base for now with Photon Overcharge and the few Adepts arriving. So yeah, might even get 1 Ling here or there, so that's actually a nice catch here. And with the third base up and no 4th incoming for Suno, maybe Miyako might be able to get herself back into the game, but she just couldn't do the kind of damage she actually wanted to do over at the left-hand side. I mean, this third base is saturated. It's 69, 70 workers to 43 now, even if this base is like oversaturated like hell. But Suno could just easily get into or could just easily go for a 4th base right now. I think she really should do that. Don't really know what she's waiting for. But there it goes down. And yeah, it's now already tacking up into Mutalisks once more. Not much to defend against the Mutalisks. Only 1 Void Ray. And of course maybe a Pylon and Photon Overcharges. But Miyako just commits even more into the Adept builds. But I don't really see her dealing that much damage anymore. I mean, she actually would have needed to take out most of the mining at the third base in order to make this strategy work. But she's really far behind already. And for now it seems as if Suno might be able to take out her opponent. So let's see, there's the big engagement incoming. We have a lot of everything. Actually, we have some Zerglings, some Mutalisks, some Hydralisks, some Banelings, but a very healthy army composition. So Miyako does not really want to fight out in the open, but she may get forced to do so. So where's the Mothership Core? It's close by, firing up every Photon Overcharge available here. No, actually it has some more, but only 2 Pylons. So Ling's running around. Mutas getting killed in an instant here, shredded without a problem. But the biggest problem for Miyako seem to be the Mutas for now, because she still only has 1 anti-air unit against all of this Muta flock. But with the help of the Photon Overcharge and the Muta and the Void Ray as well, Suno seems to have to flee for now, escape for now, just getting away from this Photon Overcharge. 9 more Mutas in the mix. In the meantime, we have High Templars getting warped in for Miyako. She wants to get out some Archons, but Archons still only helpful in a direct engagement. And I don't really think that Miyako, well, maybe she might be able to, well, unfortunately the Archons are not able to fit through this hole here, so the Archons just have to walk all around the mineral line in order to get out. So 1 more Archon being here. Well, this might actually work out. I mean, Miyako has a lot of forces on the ground, but not that, and Suno doesn't have that many forces herself. Mostly Mutas, so if she actually wants to defend a push on the ground, she will actually have to fly in with the Mutas. And if the Archons actually get close by and the splits are not okay, then Suno might actually just lose all of her Muta flock here, which would be a big problem. So let's see, Miyako again just doesn't have a Warp Prism, no Warp and Pylon whatsoever. She can't really use the biggest advantage of Protoss, which is reinforcing right at the front, negating the defender's advantage. So she has to retreat for now. She has a third base up, hasn't really lost any mining when Suno was attacking her. But I still kind of don't like it, because like I said, I mean, yeah, I mean, it would have probably been suicidal to just go in without really knowing what's awaiting her on creep. But now, of course, Suno is able to just abuse the biggest advantage that Mutas offer her, and that is harassment. Flying around like crazy, getting into the main base, killing off important tech structures. The only way that Miyako can fight Sunokasuri's Mutalisks are the Archons. But Archons are never fast enough to play catch-up with Mutas. So if you have Archons and you want the Archons to fight the Mutalisks, you have to make the Zerg engage your army. You have to force a fight. And I mean, if you can do this, you really want to. Now finally all of the units are moving in. There's a lot of Zerglings and a lot of Mutalisks here. Everything is firing from above. The only anti-air is dying. The last Archon is dead. Now it's only ground forces that can shoot up against the Mutalisk. Mutalisk killing off everything that Miyako has. Sunokasuri at 175 supply to the 54 of Miyako. I don't really know why there is no GG yet. Suno has even spotted the Ninja Expo over at the right hand corner. Gets cancelled right away. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is it. Miyako even managed to get out double Stargate with a third one over here. And she has a lot of resources, but she will probably not be able to accumulate enough Phoenixes. And even if she does, it should be pretty easy for Suno with 4 bases up to just get the economy in order to transition once more out of it. Most ground units are only Zealot, not really good against the Mutalisks. We only have 3 Phoenixes so far, which is not really bothering Sunokasuri at all. She can still just easily take out the pylons and thus blocking the production. GG! And Sunokasuri takes the match 3-1.